And I'm not going to go into great detail, but there were a large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concern that they had. And this particular man, and I'll not name him, and then we may end up doing some teachings with him or having an event at his church. He has a great church. But he said, Perry, what they're about to release, from what we're hearing, there's going to be a release concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear being released.
That's evangelist Perry Stone. He's from Perry. He has a Perry Stone Ministries, I guess is what his organization is called. And he has a weekly TV show called Manifest, M-A-N-N-A Fest. And I think it used to be on TBN. I don't know where it's housed anymore. But he also has written hundreds of books, and he's a prophet. He foretold 9/11. He foretold the election of George W. Bush. He did Osama bin Laden's death. And he also thinks that the Native American Cherokee tribe is one of the lost tribes of Israel. That's what his claim is. So he's out there, even by Christian standards. So today we're going to look at a video that he made, and it is called Beware of Deceptive Government Reports About to Be Released. Of course, it's all about UFOs, and he's going to give us our spiel, and I'm going to watch it with you so we can be surprised together. So let's go ahead and let's do, one thing. He does have the evangelist pedigree of being accused of sexual misconduct. So just keep that in your head. It's all alleged. He's never been prosecuted. I just want to put that out there, but he does have that pedigree. All right, let's take a look.
I want you to give me your attention for the next few moments of something that came to my attention very, very recently. I had a friend that sent me a text message. I was in a meeting, a weekend meeting, preaching Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. And he said, Perry, can you give me a call? I have some information that has come to my attention. Of course, when a friend of yours does that you know quite well, you have no idea what information they're talking about. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but there were a large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concern that they had. And this particular man, and I'll not name him, and then we may end up doing some teachings with him or having an event at his church. He has a great church. But he said, Perry, what they're about to release, from what we're hearing, there's going to be a release concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear being released. And some of it has to do with crafts that have been discovered that are not allegedly a part of our planet, and the materials they're made of are not a part of our planet. Very strange reptilian-looking creatures, and other things that almost sound like something out of a sci-fi movie or an Orson Welles book. And so here's what he was sharing with me. We discussed a little bit what are these things that are appearing? Steven Spielberg is about to do a movie, and he's basing it on some of what I've been told, the information that he's come across, that he's had research presented to him. So it's like a sci-fi movie, but it's not a sci-fi movie.
Do you like all the allegedly this and in a state and a friend I can't name? I think his sources are like, trust me, bro. So stupid.
Now, I want to say this. I want you to listen to me very carefully what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is going to be a little bit controversial, but my son wants him and I. Now, my son's way out there. I'm letting you know up front. He's got some theories, and it's like, Jonathan, where did you come up with that? And he's a researcher. He's wide open on a lot of things that most people would not even be aware of, or some people wouldn't be interested in, but others are definitely interested in. Okay, first of all, we read this in the Bible. By faith, we understand that the worlds were created and framed by the Word of God. Now, the worlds there would be the planets, the earth. And remember this, that in the second heaven, first heaven is, when you have the earth, you have the first heaven, which is the clouds in the atmosphere, 60 miles up. But when you get past that into the darkness of the heaven, into the cosmos, let's say it that way, you have the sun, moon, and stars, you have the nebulas, you have the constellations, you have the galaxies, you have the Milky Way. I mean, the Milky Way is not just, we're just a pinpoint of what stretches out there. And they say that creation continues to expand. Well, that's because when God said, let there be light, it continues to create. I have no problem with the expanding universe theory because God never took back his word. God said, let there be, and boom, it continues to create. So that's another subject in itself.
First of all, he's getting that verse from Hebrews 11:3, and he's taking it wildly out of context, of course. The word worlds in our English Bible, in Greek, means more like ages or, up above the earth. It's not talking about planets and galaxies and solar systems that they had no idea. That's not what it means. And all scholars agree on that. And so he's just taking that wildly out of context. Scholars agree that they're talking about the faith as a means of understanding God's creation, not the scientific, way of it. So that's just ludicrous. And secondly, where does he ever get the idea that in Genesis, when it says, let there be light, that means that there's more creating going on? He's just putting things in there, taking them wildly out of context. I've never heard another pastor say that when God says, let there be light, that means that he's continuing to create the cosmos. And that's what the writer of Genesis thought.
There are stories out there, and some of them I'm not going to tell because I don't want to get caught up with people taking what I say and trying to edit it and clip it and make it say things I didn't. This is the kind of stuff I would teach at one of my conferences more than I would on a YouTube channel, or definitely more than I would on social media, because people read into what you say, they add to what you say, they take away from what you say, they make you say things you didn't say, then they create some kind of AI that definitely was not you. But here's what I want to tell you. According to the men who were present, who have the information, they said to these pastors, you're going to have two responses more than likely when all this information is eventually released. Now, I don't know what the total information is. I know a little bit about what it's about, but apparently whatever this is very serious. And number one, you're going to have people who are going to say, if there are galaxies and there are allegedly other creations in the galaxies, then the whole creation story is a myth. And you're going to have people that's going to apostatize and turn from the Christian faith because they have no answer for what they're about to hear. Then they said the opposite will be. There will be a group of people who are not followers of Christ, are not followers of the Bible, and they're going to freak out, and they're going to come to pastors ministers and teachers and say, what is this? Is this really real? Now, my son thinks that a lot of this is going to be government fabrications to eventually, over time, explain away disappearances. Now, you know, this is not a movie. There's like 11 scientists that all have one thing in common. I'll let you research this, that have disappeared. They've just disappeared. What's happened to them? Have they all decided to go in hiding? Have they all decided to go into some underground government bunker? Nobody knows what's happened to them. They've just up and disappeared.
All right, well, let me go research and I'll be right back. Okay, so he told a complete and fabricated lie. Most of the people, I did the research. I just did all the research. So I'm going to have to read a little bit because I, didn't have time to memorize it. But first of all, most of the 11 that are disappeared are not even scientists. Many of them are actually solved homicides and suicides. So let's see. One of the 11 was a janitor at Los Alamos. He was a janitor. One was a retired construction foreman who was 76, who had not worked in like 10 years. He was also out in Los Alamos. One was a secretary, and she actually turned up missing. She went hiking and turned up missing dead in the woods. Two of them were engineers and not scientists in the way that we would think of scientists. They were like materials engineers. One is a pharmaceutical researcher, has nothing to do with aliens. And one is a retired Air Force general who went hiking and has never been seen again. So out of the 11, that leaves four actual scientists. And out of the four, one was ruled a suicide. Two were murdered with the killers caught. So that actually leaves one. That leaves one real scientist that's missing that no one knows about. So I think if I lived in New Mexico, which is where a lot of these have taken place, I think I'd be more worried about a serial killer than this being related to some UFO, cover-up. So stupid.
You see this right here? This picture of this guy going up into the spacecraft, a UFO. There are people who believe, I have some friends, I'm at the International Prophetic Summit, and when we talk in private, I wish you could hear the green room conversations. No, I don't. Because if you heard the green room conversations, people would just go bonkers because everybody wants to give their opinion now. Nobody just listens and soaks information in and says, I don't know about that, maybe so, whatever. They just immediately want to give their opinion. So that's why we keep some things privately behind closed doors or at a conference more than we do share it on a YouTube. Some people, everything they think they know, they go on a YouTube channel and want to tell it just to get views. I'm not that way, but I did feel like this was very important. My son believes, and I'm beginning to tend to believe as well, that this information is being presented so that at the return of the Lord, when there is a great disappearance, and if you talk about the rapture, go to 1 Thessalonians 4, 16 through 17. Well, it doesn't say rapture there. Yes, it says caught up to meet the Lord in the air, harpazo. Call it the harpazo. Call it the catching away. And I have been preaching prophecy for 50 years. I've written 100 books. Half of those are prophetic books. I remember back when everybody said, the Antichrist is a Jew from the tribe of Dan. I said, no, it's not. It's the 12th Imam called the Mahdi of Islam. I preached that in 1991. I talked about the ashes of the red heifer in 1984. Now everybody's talking about this stuff. I thank God they are. Now people don't think Perry Stone's a lunatic and a nut. Hallelujah.
Well, I do, and you'll have to tell me in the comments if you think he's a lunatic and a nut. But you know what he's getting at. He's saying that the government is making people disappear, although these just 11 people who most of them, big deal, 11 people. Anyway, he's trying to say that because once the rapture comes, then the government can just say, see, look at these other people have been disappearing. So silly.
Forgive me for getting a little bit stirred up there, but let's go back to the original thought. My son believes that this idea of people disappearing, they're setting it up so that when the return of the Lord takes place and people disappear, here's how they're going to explain it away. Alien invasion. Alien invasion. And the more I see that's happening the past, let's say a year, the past 12 months, it's very possible. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to hear more about this in the future. The government's going to start releasing these papers, information, possibly some video clips. And it's going to cause two things. It's going to cause some people to lose their faith in God. And the Bible even says in the last days, there would be a falling away, apostasy, a revolt from the truth. There'd be people following teachers having itching ears. Some would depart the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits, doctrines of devils. This is going to happen. So this is going to take place. It's going to cause people to apostatize and turn. However, it's going to cause other people to question what is going on. What is this about? Are these demons? Is this a manifestation of the fallen angels that came down to the daughters of men in Noah's day? And is it being repeated in another form without the creation of the Anakim, the Rephaim, and all that kind of thing? So anyway, I wanted to bring you this update and just tell you, don't be deceived by things that's happening. And when all this is released, I will come back with answers, and we're going to do some teaching on this type of thing, because there are answers to this. There was a Luciferian kingdom before Adam was ever created on the earth. That's all I'm going to say, because now you can take that and research it. But I believe that. I've believed that for many years. Finis Dake, who I had his Bible when I was 16 years of age and still have the Dake's Bible, one of the great study Bibles, he believed in the pre-Adamic world, that there was a world before the creation of Adam, but I believe there was, but he made it a human world. It was an angelic world. That's the difference I have with that. And I don't have time to preach that or teach that, but I've got all my research put away. When the time comes, we're going to do that. So that will explain a lot of what you're about to hear that goes back to the ancient time. I got to shut up.
Yeah, you need to shut up because you're getting just squirrely now. What's this Luciferian research, this Luciferian kingdom research that he has? Is it stuff that he just pulled right out of his ass? Because what kind of research could you be doing on that? It's really sad that guys like this, they take people that have mental problems, perhaps lower IQ, addiction issues, they're vulnerable, and he takes them and he spins them up with all this complete nonsense, and he gets them to send their money to him. That's what it's all about. That's what it's always been all about. But these guys almost don't even try and pretend, really. They just make stuff up, and they get people like my dad, who was an addict, who would believe this, and he would send little bits of money he had to them. Really sad stuff. So anyway, let's see if I can find a video on this Luciferian research that he's done, and if I can, I'll do another reaction video to it. Thank you guys. I love you so very much. I wouldn't do this without you. I couldn't do this without you. So I will see you next time.